All right, if you're tuned into the world of health and longevity, there's absolutely no way you've missed the buzz around a molecule called NMN. I mean, it's been talked about everywhere as this potential game changer for how we age. But what's the real story behind all the headlines? Let's try and piece this NMN puzzle together.
At the very heart of all this excitement is one really powerful question. What if we could actually recharge our cells as they get older? I mean, think about that. That's the incredible promise of NMN, and it's a promise that has sent some serious shockwaves through the scientific community and, well, everyone else too.
So, to really understand the hype, we need to go microscopic. We're going to look under the hood at these tiny little spark plugs that power our bodies and see how they kind of start to fizzle out over time.
Okay, so inside pretty much every single cell in your body, there's this molecule called NAD+. The easiest way to think about it? It's the battery. It's the battery that powers all of our essential biological processes. Now here's the problem. As we get older, studies show that the levels of this critical cellular battery, they decline in a lot of our tissues. And that decline is linked to a whole host of age-related issues.
So the big question is, how do we recharge that battery? Well, our body has this brilliant recycling system called the salvage pathway. It takes used parts and, through a few steps, creates fresh NAD+. And as you can see right here, NMN is the direct precursor to that fresh new NAD+. This discovery is what made NMN such a huge target for researchers. The theory was super simple. More NMN should mean more NAD+. You're essentially recharging your cells.
And you know what? The initial results that came out of the lab, they were nothing short of spectacular. This is what took NMN from being some niche scientific interest and just turned it into a global phenomenon.
The scientific consensus from all that early research was really clear. As this 2024 review points out, giving these NAD+ precursors to animals had incredibly positive effects on diseases we associate with aging.
And just look at the scope of these benefits. We're not talking about a small improvement in one little area. In rodents, NMN supplementation literally appeared to double their running endurance, fight off diet-induced diabetes, reverse vascular problems, and even restore cognition. I mean, come on, these were the kind of blockbuster, headline-grabbing results that fueled a massive, massive wave of hype.
However, and you knew there was a however coming, right? This is the big question. These results are amazing, just incredible, in mice. But do they actually translate to us? This is where the simple story starts to get a whole lot more complicated.
Now let's be fair. There have been some clear wins for NMN in humans. A 2023 study found that after just 60 days, middle-aged adults taking NMN could walk significantly farther in a 6-minute test. I mean, look at this. The placebo group saw almost no change, but the NMN groups walked over 140 meters farther. That is a real, measurable improvement in physical performance.
But here's where the puzzle gets truly perplexing. Another study, also from 2023, found that NMN lowered the bad LDL cholesterol and blood pressure. That's a clear positive, right? But in the very same people, it had zero effect on NAD+ levels inside their muscles and didn't improve their strength one bit. So how can it work on the cardiovascular system, but not on the muscles at the exact same time?
And the puzzle only gets deeper from here. Because apparently the question isn't just if you take NMN, it's when you take it.
Get this. A 2022 study on older adults split them into two groups. One group took NMN in the morning and the other took it in the afternoon. The result was fascinating. The morning group, no real improvements to speak of. But the afternoon group, they showed significantly better lower limb function and even felt less drowsy. All of a sudden, timing becomes a critical piece of this whole puzzle.
So what on earth could possibly explain all of these mixed results? Well, a 2023 study offered a really compelling answer. It might just come down to responders and non-responders. The theory is that some of us just naturally have higher levels of these enzymes that gobble up NAD+ almost as fast as it's made, which would basically cancel out any benefit from a supplement. This means your personal biology could be the single biggest factor in whether it works for you or not.
All right, so this all leads us to the big practical question, the one you're probably asking right now. Given all of this complex and sometimes contradictory evidence, does it actually make sense to take NMN?
So when we lay out all the current human evidence, a picture starts to emerge. For physical endurance, it looks modestly positive. Cardiovascular health, that's looking consistently positive. Insulin sensitivity, the results are still pretty mixed, inconclusive really. But here's the good news. Across multiple trials, it appears to be generally safe. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. The benefits aren't this universal magic bullet, but they do seem to exist in specific areas and for specific people.
So what's the bottom line? Well, NMN is clearly not the simple fountain of youth it was first typed up to be. The human body is just way more complex than a lab mouse. But the story isn't over, not by a long shot. As we start to solve the puzzle of timing, dosage, and who these responders are, you have to ask yourself, are we looking at the future of personalized anti-aging, an era where we can target interventions based on our own unique biology? That is the billion-dollar question that science is furiously working on right now.